All right, starting today, Charlotte Water is implementing voluntary water restrictions. We talked about it on late last week, about South Carolina implementing similar restrictions. Now, this is due to the ongoing dry conditions here in the Charlotte area. I brought it out. Carolinas, we've just been dealing with dry conditions all around. So customers are urged to reduce non-essential water use to protect the area's water supply amid this drought. Duke Energy has also entered a stage 1 drought advisory. Joining us now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, Logan Stewart with Duke Energy. Logan, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nick. Nice to be here.
Yeah, nice to have you. So let's start here. Walk us through what exactly the stage 1 drought advisory means.
Yes, I think the first thing that's important to know is that Duke Energy manages the Catawba Watery River Basin. So that's a system of 11 lakes, and it flows from the foothills, kind of the Hickory Marion area, all the way into South Carolina. So it's a really important source, for a number of things. So for drinking water, for recreation, for Duke Energy, we operate hydroelectric facilities along the river basin. But most importantly, there are 2 million people that use this resource, for their water. And so when we declare a stage 1 drought, that's not just Duke Energy. It's a collaborative effort from a group that's called the Catawba Watery Drought Management Advisory Group. So that's made up of Duke Energy and a number of large water users. And when I say large water users, that's kind of your utilities that supply your water. So we come together frequently. We look at the drought. We look at the data behind the drought. And there's a data-driven process that we follow when we decide to declare different stages of a drought.
Well, Logan, there are folks like our lake neighbors, folks who go out there on the boats. They're watching this interview and they're gonna say to themselves, Logan, what can I do? What should I be aware of? So I'm asking you that question. What should those folks be aware of?
We're getting that question a lot. So absolutely, right now we are in, you mentioned it, a voluntary conservation. So that's kind of what happens with stage 1. It's really important because we don't have rain in the forecast, and the more water we use, the less we have. So this is the time it's critical for everyone to think about conserving water. So whether that's, holding back on washing your car, turning the water off when you brush your teeth, running full loads in the dishwasher and the washer and things like that. Little things, if 2 million people add up, can really help. Now you will see lower levels in the lakes. I know a lot of people that have been out on the lakes have already talked about that. We as a company, we do our part too at Duke Energy to contribute to conserving that resource. And we change our operational processes. And we were doing that within 24 hours of declaring the drought. So some of that means slower flows, slower recreational flows, which can impact the levels of the lakes, what is there for boating and things like that. And we'll do things just to kind of monitor the lake levels. And based on our license, there are certain, levels that we have to keep each lake at. But just know that there is a protocol that we follow, again, our low inflow protocol. So we're following that process. We're going to continue to monitor the weather along with our partners and make those recommendations to the community.
One question I've been getting, and I always refer back to Brad Panovich, to the folks who do this for real, like you guys, Duke Energy. What if we get 1 good day or 2 good days of rain? Does that change anything for us?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, no. Even a weekend of heavy rains is not going to solve this. We really need a wet spring and some significant rain. We will take anything, but I think, until we see some really significant rain, the best thing people can do right now is, even though it is voluntary conservation, please do your part. That is the biggest thing that we can ask of people right now. Think about all the small things you do every day. It is that community effort that's really going to add up.
One last question before I let you go, Logan. You've been so gracious with your time. Thank you for doing this afternoon. I hate to play the if game, but if things get worse, conditions don't improve, and we still see that extended stretch of time where we're not seeing the rain that we need, what could happen next?
So I mentioned a process and protocol that we follow, and there have been some historic droughts like this, and we implemented this low inflow protocol more than 20 years ago. There was a historic drought back in kind of the mid 2000s. It successfully carried us through that. So for us right now, the most critical thing is the drinking water, preserving the resource. So we know that that is going to impact the boating and the recreational activities, but for us, that is the critical thing. So as long as we follow our process and our protocol with our community partners, we expect that we can get through this fine, but we need the public's help to do that.
Logan Stewart, always a resource for great information and great insight with Duke Energy. Thank you, Logan, for your time.